What's going on, everybody? Keith here, Two Guys How To. June's with me, and today we're going to show you how to do the seals on your hydraulic cylinders, whether it's a log splitter, the Bobcat, backhoe, whatever. They're all going to relatively fall into the same category. We've got a couple other extensive videos on the 773 Bobcat, but we're finally ready to put back one of the lift cylinders, put it back together. The threads in the top were stripped when we took the top cap off. If you watch one of the other videos, we had a big pipe wrench and another 3 foot piece of pipe on the wrench just to get one of these top caps off. They've got the 2 holes here where that the gland nut wrench goes in there. Sometimes they call it forgot what it's even called, but you need one of these wrenches. They got studs sticking out. It goes on a 1/2 inch. At Bobcat, they said they didn't have one, but they actually had one that takes a 3/4 inch drive, which is what you need for everything, you know, but they said they didn't, so we ended up calling Advance. And on this gland nut, or they call it a spanner wrench, it's really a gland nut wrench. It's got these 2 dimples in it they drilled in, and the little teeny studs from this wrench go inside there, and you just turn it off little by little. It's a nightmare. It is what it is. The cap's aluminum, it's soft. These get stripped out easy. You can spray them up all day long. They're either gonna come off easy or they're not. So the particular one in the video that we have, one of our other videos, we had to get it off using the pipe wrench, and it scored it all up. And we've got it here on this piston, and you can see where it's just all beat up from using that pipe wrench. And check out the other video, you'll see what we mean. But long story short, when you get the piston out of the cylinder, we had to use a backhoe to pull the other piston out, because you got this, or the other shaft with the piston on the bottom. This piston was hitting the rusty threads in there, so we had to pull it out. When we pulled it out, we kind of scored the sides of this. It's like a Teflon coating on these pistons here, and it's got a 2-piece seal. It's got an O-ring underneath that one plastic. It's like a yellow-orange plastic seal. And this is what a new one looks like installed. So June's actually gonna take this thing off of here. This is our better piston, but we ended up buying new ones, and we're gonna show you that real quick, because they do not make these smaller ones. These are a 1-inch piston, and the new ones are 1 1/4. So if you have a 1-inch piston on one side and a 1 1/4 on the other side, I don't know if the fluid's gonna balance out. And you can see the difference right there. If I hold them up straight, the newer one is thicker, and it's got that brand new Kevlar. I guess it's kind of like a covering, so this piston doesn't scratch the inside of the cylinder as it's going up and down, and it might make it run a little cooler. We're not sure. This one's got cracks on it, and it actually spins. The plastic part spins on that piston there. This side spins too, but not as much. So you really want to examine these, clean them up, go out in the sun, look at them. If yours has cracks in it, I would buy new ones, and it sucks because these are about, I think my guy gave me these for what, 80 bucks? Or 120, I don't even know, man. You know, you got to do what you got to do. So we bought 2 brand new pistons, 1 for each side. So we're gonna get busy, show you how to swap the seals off of here. They're pretty easy. You've got when the piston comes out, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna have that nut on the bottom. We already broke this free. You're gonna have to hang that back on the machine onto one of those pins that holds this arm in, and then break that nut free. June had a 3/4 inch socket, you know, I mean not socket, breaker. Well, he was using a breaker bar with a piece of pipe to get this off, and they come with red in there. We redo them, we use a blue, and make sure the threads are super clean with rubbing alcohol or some carb clean or something like that. Don't get the carb clean on any of your new stuff. That's why we use the rubbing alcohol, and we put blue on there and tighten them down. So you take this off, you take that piston off, you got this spacer sleeve, can only go on, it can go on, flip it around, don't matter. Then you got that cap comes off just like that. I'll give this back to June. You can see that cap that we took off. The gland nut holes are just stripped out. It would not come off, so now we've got outsides eaten up, and you've got all your seals on here. Take a picture of this, make sure you memorize and write down where the seals go. And there's another seal right on the top here we already took out, and it's this yellow one, and it sits up high. It's actually, you'll see it, it's like a tan. And then there's one more inside there that you got to pinch kind of into a heart and just snap in there, which we took out of this old cap. We have it in the new cap, but we're going to show you how to install it back in the new cap. And this is the brand new cap that we bought. This was what, another 180. You know, it's just eating us up, but in the long run, it's going to be better. And we're going to show you how to put that cap down in there and get that seal on there, and make sure you get all the seals right, otherwise it's not going to work right. So let's get busy and start taking these seals off. June's going to start with the one piston. This is the old piston. We're actually going to put the new gasket on our brand new piston, but we're going to show you how to take this off. And he's going to tape some electrical tape around here on both sides, or at least the one side, so when you go under there with the dentist tool, you don't scratch into that Kevlar coating, because if you do, you're just going to ruin this. And these are about $1.20. So let's get busy and start breaking this down and put the new seals in, and show you guys how to get back on your machine and start making some money. All right, June's going to put some tape around that piston. He's just using some black electrical tape. That'll help it so it doesn't get scored up. So when he goes in there with that dentist tool right down in there, it's going to hit this tape and not scratch that original OEM Bobcat coating on there. And if you want to examine it, if yours has cracks, or you even remotely think it's wrong, just go ahead and swap it out. But you're going to have to buy, Bobcat does not make this 1-inch piston anymore. You got to get the 1 1/4-inch piston. And that number is a 6661820. And that's the brand new piston, and we're making both sides match up. And they come with the seals already on it. So you don't have to fight with these, because these, they do get stretched out. Normally when he's going to pop this one out, we don't need to install one, but we can show you which gaskets go in there. And then our Bobcat guy says he puts tape around there and just kind of leaves them out in the sun, so the gasket gets relaxed and goes back in around that piston, because that's actually the piston ring. So we bought 2 brand new pistons that come pre-loaded. There's an O-ring under here, and then you've got this hard plastic one that's right here that comes in this kit. So it's actually a better deal. They come ready to go. So June's gonna pop that off.
I just went around it twice.
Made it a little extra thick. Yeah.
Little dentist tool. Just want to get up under that thing. Pretty much like that. You're gonna grab it with another one.
Yeah, he's got another crook dentist tool, so he's got it popped up. And then he grabbed it again.
Now you got it.
And it's like a hard plastic. It's kind of weird. It doesn't really want to come off. You got to just feed around it.
Hold one side, like kind of like you're changing a tire. Pretty much got it. Then you got one more.
There's one more O-ring right down in there. It's black. You can't see it, so make sure you get that out as well.
This one comes out pretty easy.
Yeah, that one's flexible, so it'll pop right out. And it's probably better, he didn't put tape here, did you, on this one? So you could tape both sides, that way when you walk it off of there, you're not scratching into it. But basically those are the 2 seals right there that go on that one. This one's rubber, and this one's just a hard plastic. And it's kind of weird, but I guess it's got to be sturdy enough to last through all that abuse.
So the tape saved it.
Yeah, there's no marks from the dentist tool or anything. So I mean, technically you can leave the tape on there when you want to reinstall these back on. On our brand new pistons, they came back together already with that. So it's simple, you just put the O-ring around it first. I'm going to show them that. And you want to put that hard one, it doesn't want to go on there. It stretches out and it seems like you're going to ruin it. But just tape it with some electrical tape afterwards, or put a hose clamp, is what our one Bobcat repair guy does, mobile repair, Dave. And you can see how it's kind of stretched out now versus the new one. But if you let it sit, it'll look like this.
Yeah, he said put tape.
He puts
around
electrical tape around there, and then he uses a hose clamp.
Cause see, you push on it.
You see how much of a gap that is?
This takes some time, but
yeah.
It
Let's just put a little bit of this tape around it and let it sit in the sun, and it'll compress back around there. And then you just take a hose clamp. I'll get one from the garage. Put that hose clamp on there and lightly tighten it. You don't want to score into this Teflon, but just let that thing sit like that. It'll be fine. Maybe even overnight if you wanted to, or an hour. All right, so we can start breaking into our kit here that we've got. It came with a kit number. It's a 7135558. And this is for the particular serial number 773. Just, you'll get the right kit at the Bobcat dealer or online. Make sure you double check.
All the goodies out.
All right, so on this one, we just showed you how to put the gasket on the piston ring on there. I'm gonna go ahead and run a little bit more electrical tape. You don't want to scratch that Kevlar coating. So just put some tape around it. We're out in the sun right now, so it's nice and hot. And I've got this hose clamp I'm gonna put around here. You don't have to super tighten it down, just put it over there. It'll help hold that in. And by the time we get all the seals on, this will be kind of pushed back in there. It'll push back into that O-ring that's underneath there. Just like that. We're just gonna let it sit real lightly. Don't crank this down too much. You don't want to cut through the tape. But that looks good to me. So we'll let it sit, and it'll eventually relax and look the same as this one. No gaps or anything when you take this off. So I guess we can get busy. June's got the seals all laid out. And let's get up a little bit closer and start installing this stuff here. Like I said, you want to kind of take some pictures of yours before you take them apart. You can see you've got this one flat seal here that's going to go with this O-ring. So we know that that's a pair right there. This is that one O-ring that went around the piston inside there first with the actual piston ring. So that would go here, the one we just showed you to install. Set that to the side. We don't need that today because our brand new pistons came already installed. And you've got your top seal here. That's going to go like this, upside down. The pyramid is going to go at the top. That's going to go inside there and snap in. You've got your main cap seal. It goes right around here. That's your big one. And you want to make sure when you put these on, you don't roll them. They're not rolled or twisted. Just go ahead and make sure they go on there right. And the hardest one, the original Bobcat ones have a spring in them. The aftermarket ones don't. And you got to make sure you know which way this one goes in when you pop it in there. You want the lip side. It's been a while since I did one of these. You want to make sure that that comes out, that goes in the same exact way. It has a lip, so you want to make sure that lip goes in there right. And you want to pinch this down. June's going to pinch it in there, and it snaps into place. It's harder, it looks harder than it is, but we're going to show you right now. So now that we know all the gaskets are going to line up, let's just get busy and install them back into this brand new hub. We're going to get busy here installing these seals. We checked in our manual for the 773, and they use a special tool. We don't have the tool. It kind of pinches it, and it pinches this into a heart shape, and it goes down in there. And one thing, definitely make note on the head that we're going to be installing. On your seals, if they're aftermarket, they'll have an O-ring in here, similar to this O-ring. That'll snap in there. On the Bobcat ones, they come with it's like an O-ring, but it's a metal kind of spring. So you always want to make sure if yours has an O-ring instead of this spring, you want that side facing down towards the bottom of the cap, towards your cylinder that holds the fluid. So once you figure that out, that O-ring or spring side goes down in this cap. We're gonna get busy, and let's just June will knock out these seals real quick.
We don't have the tools.
No, we don't have the tools, so he's gonna just pinch it into a heart and kind of finagle it down in there. And he's just going, it is a little bit, that's the hardest one right there.
Once you got this one, the rest is easy.
Yeah, just make sure when you get that bent, that O-ring and spring side, O-ring or the spring O-ring goes down. And that's the top of the cap, make sure it's going down. And before, you set it on there and then he pinched it. He got it started there and then he pinched it in and popped it in and then he opened it up.
Just get it a little limber first.
Yeah, he's just kind of, softening up the rubber. Like I said, they do make a tool. Let's see if we can get right over top here. Hold on for a second, June. See how he's got it down in there? He's got it started.
Put it down in the...
He's got it down in where it goes. He holds it there.
Just push here lightly and just work it.
And it'll snap down in there, yep. He's almost got it in. Yep. Boom. Voila. It clicked in, so that one's good to go. That's the hardest one, really.
We don't need tools here.
No, we don't need that special tool. And they also make another tool that stretches out this piston ring. And it goes over there, then it goes over top of there. And then they make another tool that goes over just like this hose clamp we showed you. And you compress that back down and you leave it on there for about 30 seconds. I think it said 3 minutes in the manual here. It's got the breakdown of everything.
There's the tool.
They got a tool for everything, even a special tool for that, what June just did. So let's just keep on going and get these in. That's the top cap. Make sure that cone side is up. Take pictures of everything. That one just snaps in. All right. So now we're just ready for, we can do the top gasket that goes around the top seal. Remember, don't roll it, they make a stretcher for that as well. You're supposed to stretch it and then put it over there. But if you can just pull it on there without rolling it, you don't want to roll it. You want that gasket to sit exactly how it comes in the relaxed fashion, or it's going to break and leak. There you go. Sweet. And last but not least on this cap is that hard seal. Yeah, see, this cap, the new cap comes with this lip right here, but there's no real lip on this side, so that O-ring will roll. So you want to do this one first. And that one, once again, you're supposed to stretch it out and get it a little relaxed, but we're out in the sun. We've let these things sit in the sun. So June's got that snapped on and it didn't roll. It looks nice and square.
Just use the back of the...
Yeah, use the back of that dentist tool, and he's just gonna push it up on there. And now we're ready for the big O-ring. And once again, you don't want to roll it. You just want to stretch it over there just the way it sits. Bam, that's it. So now this O-ring, when you're tightening it up, it can't roll off this back. It's got that hard gasket, and it's good to go. That's pretty much it. Now the piston, if you were gonna use your piston, this thing's been relaxed and pressed in there for long enough. We can go ahead and open this up. Let's show them that this actually does work and it keeps it compressed. And then you're ready to put this thing back together and get it on the unit. And just take that tape off of there if you can find the end of it. Safer to use the tape because those things are 120 bucks right there. I think that's what I spent the other day. So I had to buy 2 of them, 240 bucks. And that's with our discount. And you can see how the gasket looks now compared to how it was. Remember before, June could stretch it way out, and look at it compared to the new one now. It's good. Boom. So that's a quick technique to where you don't need the tools that are in the manual. Do it the way we showed you, and put this thing back together the same way. So we can actually go over here and start to get them on there. The cap, brand new seal. You can lube this up a little bit. You definitely want to put some hydraulic lube in there and put all this back together the same way. We're not going to show you guys that. Remember, if you torque this nut down, you want to put the cap on here first, like so. You want to definitely put lube in here, put some hydraulic fluid, get that up on there. And then you want to get one of those spacers. That'll go on there next. So you'll have the cap and then the spacer. And then you go ahead and run that big nut on there like that. So basically that's how it's going to sit on the unit, just like this. Those three. Just like that. So, and in order to tighten this up, we take this arm and we hang it back on the machine, you know, and then you tighten this down. So while that thing's hanging back up on the machine, you tighten that nut up. I think it's about, we can check in the manual here. We heard it's about 600 foot-pounds. We're not quite sure of that, but make sure you put some blue Loctite on these threads. That way it'll stay on there and clean these threads really well. And that's pretty much it. We're not gonna bore you. We gotta hurry up and get this stuff done and get this on the machine. So check out, you know, other videos that we have. Hopefully this helps you. June's got that hydraulic oil in that cap right there, and he's getting ready to lube it up to put this unit back together. And remember, you want to double check your Zerk fittings here. 9 times out of 10, the canal inside here, there's a channel where the grease is supposed to go. It's clogged, and that's why your stuff's wearing out. The Zerk fitting no longer works, even if you take it out. I took this out the other day, and it was totally clogged. I had to drill it out with a dentist tool and some carb clean. And we did that, and I repainted everything. I painted the cylinder that holds the fluid. Those are in the garage over there. So June's just lubing up everything, ready to assemble this back. And that's how it should look on the thing. Should be the cap, the spacer, and the big nut on the bottom. Just remember, put this back on the machine, or you can put this in a vise like this and clamp it, and then tighten that nut up down there with a big breaker bar. All right, we went ahead and we put a bunch of hydraulic oil on this. We got this cap on there, and it's pretty tight. You want to make sure you use a lot of lube so you don't ruin those seals. Then that spacer goes on there. I forgot to show you that earlier. I showed you it, but I showed you without the piston, and then that piston goes all the way on the bottom with that brand new nut. When you get the seal kit from Bobcat, it comes with a new nut with the red Loctite already on it. And that's a brand new rig up right there. And we're gonna take that over to the machine for advice, wrench this down. This unit's ready to be installed back into that cylinder. All right, we're gonna install the rest of the piston and the cap and everything on this other cylinder. And I'm gonna wipe down these the threads where that new nut's gonna go. I'm using some rubbing alcohol. And we're gonna let that dry before we put that new nut on there. June's using that hydraulic fluid pretty liberally. You can see it coming down off of here, but you have to or you'll ruin those seals. So we got the spacer. And I'll use a little rubbing alcohol on those threads. Just the exposed threads. The piston covers up most of the threads. I've got that brand new piston. That's the old one there. That one that's 1 1/4 right there. And we need one brand new nut. Once again, put this end down here in a vise on the square end, put some cloth on each side so you don't mess up the paint or whatever. and we don't have a vise that's secure enough, so we just hang this back off the machine off of a pin that held this on. We pull the pin out a little bit, hold it on there, wrench it back down. So once these are snug down on there, we're going to officially torque them up. I think it's 600 foot-pounds, and we're out. We're going ready to put these on the machine. So let me get this other nut on here. All right, that's as tight as she's gonna go. So, all right, what we mean about if you don't have a vise hanging off a pin, basically we have these pins that come out of the boom arms. They're everywhere. They're all over the unit. But we went ahead and to get this arm off, we took this pin out, but we put the pin back through. So now this thing is sitting there stationary. You can't turn it. It's as good as a vise, if not better. So we've got our breaker bar, our 3/4 inch drive, and this is a 1.5 inch socket. So let's go ahead and get this bottom nut tight. Snug it up there first. And you can see I can't really get the leverage that we need, so I'm gonna have to add on this extender. And I'm gonna give it my all. June's gonna hold that thing steady. Come back one more time. This is how we took them off, so we're putting them back on with the same tools we took them off. I can check one more time a little bit. She's pretty tight. I don't see that coming off. And with that red Loctite on there, it's not gonna come off. And you can see June just pulls it right off that pin. That thing's ready to go down in the cylinder. And make sure your cylinder, you rinse it with some diesel fuel. Make sure you get any of the dirt and debris out, because these caps, when they come off, these caps will shred. And you'll see little metal strips from them. So we're actually gonna put some anti-seize grease on these before reinstall. And that's it. So let's get back to the front and we're gonna sign off on this video. We just flushed out these cylinders with some diesel fuel, and we got it in there, and we used some napkins to clean out the threads and everything in there. Everything looks good. So we're gonna put some more lube on these pistons, put some hydraulic oil on those pistons and get those set down in the cylinder. You want to thoroughly lube everything up. Get these seals. Well, actually, I didn't want the threads because we're going to use some anti-seize. But I'm going to go around the bottom seal here and a little bit on the shaft. That should be pretty good. What do you think? And we can go ahead and get this cylinder, or the whole piston ram arm, down inside the cylinder now. Yeah, sometimes you got to wiggle them. You get it down in there, you just got to wiggle it a little bit. This new piston is so tight on the bore, you want to kind of keep it pretty straight. Pretty tight. And brand new. Might have to set it down on the table and worm it in there. It's going in, but it's not trying to go in too well. What's up, sweetie? Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me just get this piston over little hydraulic oil around there. We'll see if we can get it to go down in there. We got diesel in the cylinder. Want to make sure you get a lot of lube down inside that cylinder as well. It's going. Yeah, it looks like it. Once you get it past that little, it's like pinched in right there, it'll drop down in there. So, and another thing, we've got the caps capped off because I painted it. So that'll let the air out the bottom. You can go ahead and tighten up this this nut, but I wanted to use a little bit of anti-seize grease on it. Coming out, huh? Later, easier. All right, now we can use that special spanner wrench to tighten this thing down, and I'll tell you what, it's a stupid idea, but tighten this by hand at all. About where you're gonna get. Stupid idea the way they make these caps. Just dumb. You got it? Pretty much you just want to get it down there and just snug it up a little bit. Whoop. You don't want to over tighten it. Once that seal touches, just snug it up a little bit, and you can double check it when it's on the unit. We usually take these off before we take the ram off the unit. So that's tight right there. We're going to move on to the next one. We showed you how to do that one, so on to the next. So if I didn't say it before, I'll say it again. I'm Keith. June's there. Two Guys How To. That's who we are. Two Guys How To. And check out the other videos, especially dismantling and everything that led up to this point. Get your new seals. Make sure you match those pistons up. Use the little techniques that we showed you with the clamp, the tape, to save that Kevlar coating on here. And if you have a messed up piston, these are the old ones. You got to buy the new ones that are a 1/4 inch fatter. But in the long run, it's going to save you money, and the machine's going to last another 20 years. So we're out. Check out the other videos, fix it yourself, save that money. Peace. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.